All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's been a hot minute since we've last chatted, but I'd like to welcome back Mr. Brian Flynn from Super7. Hello, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. It's summertime. We're doing this the day before July 4th. It's July 3rd, so I get a day off tomorrow while Kyle does not.
That's true. But we had Canada Day earlier this week, so I've already gotten mine.
Oh, you've already gotten your Canada Day in.
Yeah,
Did you drink Canada Dry on Canada Day?
I did. Made with real ginger,
It is. It is.
allegedly.
You know, many number of years ago, I was in the hospital for an extended stay, and the only thing I could drink was Canada Dry. uh, if aside from like water, and I was like, I learned to like it. Not that it was bad, it was just I'd never bothered with it before. And you're like, actually, this is pretty good. Like, oh, no wonder they've been in business.
Yeah, well, it's not very intuitive when you look at the can, like what it is. But yeah, no, ginger ale, Canada Dry is pretty good. I'd like it better than Schweppes for sure.
Yeah,
Although
no,
I like Tom Tucker, but they don't sell it up here.
I don't know anything about Tom and his Tucker, but if he has a little bit of Schweppes, he might not need to wipe his Tucker,
There you go.
because that's what it sounds like, right?
Yeah, he's got a mint ginger ale. They don't sell it up here in Canada. It's too weird to us, apparently.
All right. Well, you guys, it's because they probably are unwilling to translate the label into French and English.
Yeah, that you know what that might be true. It's really funny whenever I show off something that's like been sold here up here in Canada because like it's like half the label is English, half the label is French, and they're like, wait a minute, like what's going on here?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Those provinces on the right hand side of the map messing things up for everybody.
yeah, yep. That's definitely true. Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking the time to meet today. I know big SDC plans coming up. Big reveals yesterday that we're definitely going to get into. So I'm thankful for the time. There have been a few products released since we last chatted that I wanted to maybe chat through and get your insights
Yeah.
on. Um, so with that, we'll jump right into it. And the first thing I wanted to talk about was Blind Box Series 9, which is the third Shogun wave.
Yes.
Yeah, so I believe we've got Cherry Blossom, we've got the Snow variant. I want to say the orange with metallic is a vintage toy, and then we have the is it 1956 movie poster?
Yeah. It's sort of the 56 movie poster. The white with baby blue is a bit, Yeti, Bumble, kind of colorway that you get. The orange with metallic green is not a vintage Godzilla color, but
Hmm.
it's just sort of a classic kaiju color. So we went there, and then yeah, cherry blossom, and then the secret.
The Secret, yes, which people have dug up, and
Yeah.
it appears to look it looks sort of like a test shot or like a prototype. Do you know if that was the
Wait, you want to pull up the picture?
I don't have one on hand because it's so elusive. I don't have a picture
I
on hand.
mean, really? Come on, Kyle.
I know. I know, but it was like a baby blue plastic.
Yeah, I think it's the idea around it, sort of like when we did the first Aliens. You have oh god, I can't remember what the name for it is, but the prototype color that they used for Kenner around Empire was this blue, and so
Hmm.
we did it in that color.
Okay, that makes sense. I am familiar with the Alien blind box series, and my friend Mike, who joined us on the
No,
Realm Forge.
the original Alien 2 pack that we did, the very first ones, the Toy
Hmm.
Fair samples, those were done in the unpainted blue.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I do remember seeing those before. So that does sound familiar. I'll have to ask Mike. Mike's big into Alien. I know he's been collecting the blind boxes that you guys did before. He's been trying to find them anyway. But yeah, that really like seeing it. It looked like a test shot, which is it's a neat piece to have for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're saying test shot, but it's technically not test shots. They were castings. That was the
I
color that they
see.
would make castings from. So before it went to tool, they would make castings of the sculpts in that blue plastic.
Okay, Cool. That's awesome.
A little bit of nerdery.
Well, that's what you get when you get into, blind boxes of vintage toys,
Well, and then the Shogun Godzilla is the one where every time we make it, people are like, okay, and more, please. And you're like, okay, well, let's just space it out a little bit. Let's work our way through it. And they're like, no, 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 no. More Shogun Godzilla.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, okay, we'll get there.
Yeah, it's funny. When we last chatted, there were so many blind boxes. It was we talked about
This time there's
metallic.
only one.
Yeah, we talked about metallic. We talked about Monster Island. We talked about -1, and then we talked about, what was the other one? There was one more that we talked about, Marusan.
Yep.
And during that chat, you said, yeah, like these four are meant to last through the summer, and hopefully there won't be another one to crowd people with anytime soon. And then like 3 weeks later, this one got shown off.
Well, there's not anything else crowding it up right now.
Right. And I also think like a Shogun has its own audience
Completely.
to a degree, right? Like not the person that's going for -1 isn't necessarily going for Shogun.
No, the Shogun Godzilla sculpt is really, there's a certain person that really understands what it is,
Hmm.
and is just like, I love it. I want them all. Or for a lot of other people, it's like, I have one. That's plenty. They don't need them. But I need them all.
Very cool. So speaking of other blind boxes, some folks in my community wanted me to double check in, to check in with you to ask, the -1 blind boxes, are they still being distributed? Are they still making their way out?
I I thought they were all out. I thought they were out there. Are people having trouble getting those?
I think there's a few folks. Some of my friends over in California have been having a hard time finding them.
Hmm.
Um, but from my understanding, Target's distribution is not. They're not hitting all the Target stores.
It's there's four. The oversimplification is that there's four different kinds of Target stores, so it sort of depends on which one you got. The easiest way to tell is like that collector section in the back.
Hmm.
One, do you have one? But like, is it 4 foot wide? Is it 8 foot wide? Or is it 12 or 16, even 20 feet wide?
Hmm.
And so if you're going to one that only has like a 4 foot stripe or even sometimes an 8 foot stripe, it might be harder for you to find those blind
Okay.
boxes. But if you go to the one that's at 12 or 16, you're going to have a much better time trying to find it.
Right.
Like the 8 foot or smaller is you're just in general, what they're getting across the entire store is just going to be, that's one of the smaller stores, and they get smaller sets. So they might have gotten one, but they might only get it once and never replenish,
Right.
where the 16-foot wide collector section might get it multiple times.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, and I think there's a combination of that, but also we've talked about this before. Is the blind boxes are so popular that if someone walks in and sees a full flat, the chances that they grab the full flat are pretty high, I think.
Yeah, it's 50-50. Like they'll either grab the whole flat or they'll start going through it. Like you just kind of never know. But like, yeah, it's a tricky one.
Hmm. For sure. Okay, so that's good to know about which targets, because there are some folks they're surrounded by many targets, and so it might be
Yeah,
good to.
yeah. And I think that's the hard part, is that everybody thinks that all targets are created equal, and they are not.
Hmm.
You know, your larger, higher volume stores are going to have bigger sections, and they're
Hmm.
going to get more turn and more
Hmm.
product. So, as a toy collector, the easiest way to really understand, like, like they have like, I don't want to get into their how many stores, but like there's a very small amount of like crazy targets where you walk in and they'll have like $800 Lego sets.
Hmm.
Like if you've got one of those targets that has like the $600, $800 Lego sets, that target gets everything always all the time. That should be your first stop.
Okay.
But there's only a very small amount of those. Then there's a big group of them that have 12 to 16 foot collector sections. That's sort of your core store that you need to go to look for, whether it's on peg stuff or collector stuff. And then if it's a 4 or an 8 foot, as much as I'd love to, that would be one I would check a little less often.
Gotcha. Okay. It's really cool listening to you talk about like Toy hunting tips.
Because I don't have targets in Canada.
No, it's just like I was listening to the interview with you that went live over the weekend where you were talking about you wrote a travel guide to Japan, or you wrote was it three? Did you write three
Two.
different versions? Two.
Two.
Yeah, so it's just fun listening to you say like, here's how you strategize. Here's what you got the $800 Lego sets. That's where you need to be going.
Like that. Well, it just tells you the volume it tells you two things. It tells you the kind of customer that comes in there that's willing to spend a higher dollar. So you're going to find more expensive items there that you might not find at another one. And it's also going to tell you the volume that they expect that store turns over.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So if you've only got a 4-foot section, they're expecting that turnover to be very slow. So they're not giving it a lot of space.
Gotcha.
So if you're in another store and they've got a much bigger section, they're expecting the turnover to happen faster. So they're dedicating more room to it. So you are going to see it replenished also faster. The other thing I don't know which ones I was in, but if you go to your Target and you don't see anything on the shelf, and this is me asking you to help us help you.
Okay.
If you go to your Target and you don't see the blind boxes, or you don't see the Super Kaiju or whatever or the reaction figures that you're looking for, flag down the guy and ask them if they have it in inventory. And they all have the little handheld, amazing little, tricorder of inventory. And if it says that they have inventory on the tricorder, but it's not on the shelf, that means it's phantom inventory. And if they think they have it, but they don't, they can't replenish it because they think it's there. So then if you ask that stock person to zero out the inventory, it will trigger an automatic reorder. But if it thinks that there are 2 or more on shelf on a regular item, but they're not there, say somebody ripped a package.
Yeah.
And so they just removed it, but they didn't remove it from inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a phantom one sitting on the peg.
Okay.
And if it's a higher turning store, they might, I'm just saying it, have 2 or 3 phantom units in inventory that don't exist. And so therefore, on their system, it says that item has stopped selling, so we're not going to replenish it because we don't need to. We have 3 on shelf. Where if they zero out their inventory, you'll get a refreshment in. So that's the biggest hurdle to empty pegs, is that the biggest hurdle is phantom inventory.
Yes.
So if you go in there, what will probably happen in some cases, like I see this all the time, is you walk in there and there's no blind box. And then the guy will come and look and he'll say, oh, it says we have 5.
Yeah.
Out of the 12 that came in there, whether they were damaged, whether they were bought and just didn't reconcile correctly, any number of things that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I need you to zero that out so that it can get replenished. And then they zero it out. And then, a week later, there's a full blind box that shows up. So more than anything, if your local Target doesn't have what you need, double check whether or not they think they have it. Because if they think they have it and they don't, that's why you're not sitting, why it's got empty pegs.
Okay. That, I never would have even guessed that. So that's very good intel to have. And I know of at least 3 people that will make use of that.
Yeah. I mean, the longer an item has been coming in and out of stock, the higher chance of phantom inventory there is.
Right.
And so an oversimplification of it too is we ship targets in 4s, 4 per inner carton. Sometimes that's an assortment, whatever it is, it's 4. And that 4 goes on this peg.
Mm-hmm.
And that's designed because a peg holds 6 units.
Mm-hmm.
So when they sell 2, it triggers a reorder because the new 4 can come in and fit on the peg. And now you have 6.
Right.
And when that sells down to 2, it'll trigger a reorder to put 4 more back up.
Mm-hmm.
But if say they get down to 2, but there's a phantom inventory after 2 of those things come on and it says there's 3, well, then it's not going to get restocked.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what you'll see is on those higher performing targets, they'll have all these empty pegs because they might have gotten 16, 20, 24 units in,
Hmm.
but they've got 2 units of phantom inventory, and so it's not getting replenished.
Okay.
So if you guys, I'm making the call to the people out there. If you go to your Target and you don't see what you're looking for, if you're looking for an empty shelf, see if they think they have it in inventory. And if they don't, then hopefully it's getting replenished.
Hmm.
It should be getting replenished. If they do have it in, if they do think they have an inventory, get it zeroed out. And they can do that right there from the little PDA.
Great. Amazing. Great intel. Thank you so much. This is something that'll help, even beyond Super 7. It'll help with all
Yeah,
kinds of folks.
it will help for all of your collecting brands.
All of your collecting needs.
Exactly.
Amazing. So one last thing I wanted to ask about blind boxes. When we last spoke, we talked about the idea of deeper cut characters for Toho. Like Kamakuris might not
Yep.
make sense carded release on a shelf, whereas something in blind
You,
boxes.
you know that one's you're just tugging on my heartstrings. You know I got Kamakuris on the brain.
Of course, of course. But one of my friends raised the question of like, if Kamakuris might not make sense on a card back, what happens to the possibility of like a special variant of Kamakuris? Because normally you do a main release and then a glow release. So
Yeah. I mean, I think if you think about it on the reverse side, it's more like once we've got that tool done, then all of a sudden, like if Kamakuris works through the blind box, then it might be easy for me to then make a recolor or even put it on a card back. But the card back version is not holding the brunt of paying for all the tooling. The blind box is holding the brunt of paying for the tooling.
Okay.
So if we get to that figure, glow in the dark Kamakuris would be great.
Oh, you could army build. He's an army builder. You can have multiple glowing Kamakuris.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so cool. Jumping over to a different series just momentarily, I picked up the glittery Yip Yips from Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Because I love the Yip Yips, and it turns out my daughter loves the Yip Yips too. She's having a lot of fun.
Who doesn't love the Yip Yips?
Of course. But that wave, Series 2, that was really unique in the sense that you actually had the Yip Yips and Big Bird, like the normal versions, let's say, but then you had 2 chases. It was one of each. And I was kind of curious if that's a format that you will eventually converge on, because -1 also had 2 chases.
Yeah, I think what it's a fine line. It depends on sort of how many blind boxes we make and how many different. Yeah, every time you change the color, you got to clean out the machine and put in new color and everything. Blah blah blah. But yeah, we're definitely sort of leaning into seeing if we can get some more wackiness in there.
Okay, that's cool. I did this mock-up.
Because hey, here's some stuff we don't have, and who doesn't want another Gabra?
Yeah, right. It was the question of like if blind box makes sense for standard, maybe blind box makes sense for chase as well. But this just seemed like something that could be neat to see in the future, where you have like a chase of that obscure character too. And of course, I made a purple Godzilla because I have to.
And then I made a red one, and I put a big maple leaf right on its chest.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, amazing. Okay, next one. This one I missed for our last chat, but I'm actually really excited to talk about it. Strangely enough, the Super Duper plush line debuted. It debuted earlier at Walmart, and now Super7 selling direct. I got these guys in hand. Ashley sent me a couple of them. These are so much fun. Can you tell me about where these came from?
Yeah, we've been working on these for a long, long time. And just, so much of the world that we all live in is all about like hyper realism, hyper cool, hyper tough, hyper articulated, hyper, just tough guy toy.
Yeah.
Like, but there's a lot of, for me, like, there's a part of this is just like, it's fun. And like, we wanted to make little plushes that just literally were like, I just want to hug you. That was the goal. Like huggable plush. And you were like, how do you do it where it could be cute and soft and fun, still sort of feel like the character,
Yeah.
but be playful with it? And um, I don't know. It's been surprising. It's done really, really well so far. And people really like it. I think the fun part about it is really trying to get them as minimal as possible.
Hmm.
Like, because they're no fun to hold on to when they're covered in embroidery and everything.
Sure.
So, um, yeah, these were the first two. Um, and there's some more coming that are really cool. Like,
Hmm.
it's like, okay, these are pretty good. I'm feeling really good about that Godzilla, but we could do better. And it's like we're starting this lineup. So every time we make one, we learn a little bit more and we learn a little bit more. So the next few plushes are really cool. And there's definitely a couple in there that are going to catch people completely off guard.
Oh, that's very exciting. I did want to ask about what the plans are for frequency, but even character selection because you've got 89 here and then you've got 74 Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little less about you know the true collector, like getting into the genus and species. It's like, what do people want? Like, what does your average person want,
Hmm.
and what do they know of as Godzilla? Like, if you put 54 Godzilla and you give them ears, people will be like, why does Godzilla have ears? Like, you know
Yep.
it's meant for a much more casual customer. So you're also coming back to, like, okay, when you say Mecha Godzilla, even then most people do think of 74 before they think of the later, streamlined for speed Mechagodzilla,
Hmm. Right.
or Kiryu or any of the other stuff. So yeah, we were just kind of like going like, what's that iconic thing that the person's going to understand that walks into a store? And it's just like, oh, I want a Godzilla plush. What are
Hmm.
they after? And they might be six,
Yeah.
they might be 45, I don't know. So, um, but yeah, that's been a lot of fun because, like, it's hard to get like angry or aggro about that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm so glad that you touched on
And they're big.
they're
They're
a
not
really good
small.
size. They
They're
are
big.
they are a good size. They are very soft to the touch. For $17, it's quite impressive. And I'm not just
Yeah.
saying that because you sent me a couple of them. Like,
Yeah, we had to get that right there on the nose, get that in there. Uh,
yes.
but yeah, I mean, like, you can see, like, the hands are pretty big and they're nice and squishy. You just, oh, how you doing, Godzilla? There you go.
Yeah, no, so much fun, and I'm so glad you touched on like the whole. There's so many conversations around like hyper articulation, hyper accuracy that sometimes it's just nice to have a break from that, and that's with the fun funds. We definitely got into that space, and with Super Duper Plush, we're going even further into that direction,
Yeah,
which is it's nice. It's a nice refreshment.
yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, fun, obviously, as its names apply, is just like, can we just have fun with this? Like, we'll get into the weeds of other stuff later, but yes, we're just gonna have fun with this for now.
Perfect. So next up, we had a couple of reactions come out. So
Yep.
we have charging -1 on left on card back. Really great card art. And distinct from the blind box version because this is the full straightened tail, whereas
Yep.
the blind box version, the tail is a little bit curved over to the
Yeah,
side.
it's the curved tail, exactly.
Yeah. So right away, question is, what does this mean for other unique molds that were in the blind box? Do you think that we might see those come out with the same sort of modifications?
Probably not. I think most of it is meant for the blind box, but it was more that the original -1 on card was really, really strong,
Mm-hmm.
and people were asking like, okay, when's the next -1 coming out? So we're like, all right, what can we do that's still going to be cool for people to get,
Mm-hmm.
but doesn't just replicate what you already bought if you bought it for that. So it's like, I want to make it different, but I also want to make it for that regular person that walks up to it, goes like, okay, I get it. I understand it. I want that. Not, oh, this is really weird and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it only makes sense in the blind box kind of thing.
Sure, sure. And one thing that I think is, how do I say this? It in the reaction format, it you had a very easy out to not extend the spines, but you did extend the spines, and it's a really nice attention to detail that even at the 3 3/4 inch scale, that extended spine look is so cool.
Well, and the same thing. It's like even when we did the blind boxes, no one would have cared it versus like straight tail versus curved tail. But it was like, no, they need to be different. They can't be exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a little thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it makes it cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And for that diehard collector who's all in, it's a nice little point of differentiation.
100%.
Yeah. So on the right, we have Glow in the Dark Marusan. This came out, I believe, early last month. And he looks very similar to the one that was in the blind box wave 6, except he is glow in the dark. So I wanted to ask you, is there a specific homage that this figure is paying?
Yeah, yes and no. It was more just like, here's a different repaint on it with this. I mean, you could argue that it looks a bit like the giant with the glow green that we did with Marusan back in the day, but not really. The orange one was painted more correctly to that. Like the paint styling's a little different, especially around the eyes and kind of the the underarm swing that you've got going on here.
Mm-hmm.
It just looked cool, and we were all like, "It's rad!" Like
Hey
it's
man,
rad.
sometimes that's enough.
Yeah, it's just like, no, it's rad. Let's just go with it. Like, and that was that.
Perfect. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to own this one too. Glow in the dark is very powerful. Really great effect. If you have it in the sun for even like 10 minutes, it glows up really nice. The glow in the dark stuff that you guys make always glows really strong, which is fun. Um, Couple questions I've seen in my community, and I think it might have to do with the fact that the mainline wave 6, 7, 8 came out pretty close back together. I think across maybe 5 months, we got 3 waves back to back. And so wanted to check in to ask wave nine
Here's
of
Wave Nine.
reaction. Do you have a rough idea of when it might be?
I believe it comes out in the August reset.
Okay.
So I think what you happened with 6, 7, 8. I think is that 6 was delayed and then it kind of piled on top of 7, and
Mm-hmm.
then it just made 7 feel like it happened that much closer to 8.
Okay. Cool.
Or 5, 6, whatever. But it's like, I think one of them got delayed, and
Mm-hmm.
then it was like, oh, it was right into the next one, and then even though the next one was a decent, it just felt like it was, in isolation a lot really quick.
Sure. And they were smaller than some of the previous waves. So,
Yeah, I think we're in 4-figure waves. But in the case, like, I think like the last wave that had -1, you had 3 regular Godzillas plus a -1, because technically they're 2 different licenses. So it's still 4 figures in the wave, but 3 come from one place and 1 comes from another.
I see. So wave 8 was actually 2. It was
Oh, okay.
89 and then 93 Mechagodzilla.
Okay. I can't keep them straight anymore.
That's fair.
But I'm also living in late 26 right now mentally.
Yeah, and you've also got like hundreds of products being made. So that's
No, it's more like, we get down, we plan it, we work on it, we go through all of it, we get it moving. Over time, things slide around a little bit.
hmm
But by the time it actually comes out, it's 15 months later. It's like I've
yeah.
forgotten at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah.
It's old news. I've moved on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was our second chat. We were talking about the Ultimates Destroyer, and Ultimates Destroyer had been out for like 6 months. But you would ask me, you're like, is Destroyer out yet? I said, oh, yeah. Yeah, he's been out.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I get it. I totally get it.
Like, like same thing, like we're really wrapping up Comic-Con 2026 right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
25 hasn't even happened yet.
But it is happening.
But it is
And
happening. Look at that segue.
oh, yes. And we've got our official reveal yesterday.
Yep.
Godzilla Station. This will be the official pop up at the San Diego Comic Con, or at the San Diego Super 7 store during this Comic Con. Uh, Brian, how long has this been in the works? What can you tell me about this?
Well, it's been in the works for over a year because that's how long it takes. Like I said,
Yeah.
we're finishing up 26 as we speak. Yeah. We just really wanted to, we really try to lean into sort of our key licenses and our best partners every year at San Diego and try to do something really special. And so we've been talking to Godzilla for a little while, or Godzilla, or Toho for a little while about what we can do. Yeah, I was calling Godzilla in his cell. How you doing? Arr, Um, so we've been talking about it for a while, and they were kind of annoyed that we didn't do it last year.
Okay.
And so we made sure that it was this year. So we got to be very careful that you know that kaiju are invading San Diego Comic Con, and we need to be safe. So
Yep.
you can go to the Godzilla station, and then it's going to be really really cool. Um, the whole I don't know. Am I allowed to reveal? What do I say? Like, yeah,
So,
we have it here. So the front of it should look like a smashed train
yeah.
that Godzilla has chomped and dropped, and then you have to enter through the smashed train into the store. The whole store, sidewalk, everything around it should be annihilated.
Yeah.
We're gonna have people in these outfits, the Godzilla response team outfits, with the reflective and the helmets and everything that will be guiding you around. It should be a lot of fun.
It looks like a lot of fun, and it mentions here there's gonna be actual movie props, Godzilla cosplayers.
Yep.
You got
The
the whole
kaiju
shebang.
response team staff. Yeah, that's like us in the whole, like Japanese crossing guard sort of looking outfit with the special kaiju response team helmets and everything.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what do you call this aesthetic for the pop up? It's like OSHA punk.
OSHA punk. What do I call this aesthetic? We're very much taking inspiration from Japanese work sites and everything. Like if you go to Japan, where they always have everything with the accordion fold blocked off, and then the cones with the little bar, and the guy out there with the little flashlight.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm super excited to be at San Diego Comic Con this year and to be at the pop up and to see everybody and to meet everyone and to be able to celebrate Godzilla. One really cool thing, you've got Shinji Higuchi.
Yes, he will be doing a signing on Friday,
Yeah.
which was, I mean, that literally just came together in the last week or so, which is crazy. So he's coming down, and it's going to be pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be rad.
That is so cool. So 11 a.m. on the Friday. I know you wouldn't be able to confirm anything I'm about to say, but like, if you guys had a Shin prototype or something that
We
he
do.
could like show
I
off.
will, just to be safe for everybody here. We do not have a Shin prototype or anything else to
Uh,
show off for this. Like I said, this just came together in the last week, and they were like, "Well, what do you guys think about?" We're like, "Of course, please bring him on, come on, this is gonna be awesome."
yeah. Well, they're doing the re-release of Shin Godzilla in IMAX, and this is a
Yep.
great tie into that. Um, Super cool. Like we've got all the details, and it'll be amazing to actually be there and to see how it all comes together. I'm so stoked. Uh, Now it does say there's going to be exclusive apparel, which we haven't seen yet, but they're going to
No,
be
not all the reveals have happened yet.
okay. All right, so more to come, but we have gotten some reveals. So on the left here we have the Mechagodzilla 93 in vintage gold, and then clear
Yep.
blue Godzilla -1. Now, the Mechagodzilla does look to be an homage to the Trendmaster toy.
That is correct. That is where the vintage comes from.
Yeah, and there's something about seeing Trendmasters associated with vintage that I don't know how I feel about that, but
It's true. You ask me how I feel about it, you know.
yeah, but oh, he looks really charming. And then the clear blue, when you guys did the clear blue reaction for the blind boxes, I think those are they're definitely in like my top 5 reaction figures that I own. But it's awesome to see more of that clear blue -1. He looks so
Yeah,
nice.
so good. And he's so cute.
He is so cute. I love the fun line so much.
See, there we go. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've got our Godzilla Station thematic packaging to make them even more special, which is really neat.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fun watching you guys play around with the fun packaging, like the Snoopy. You guys just showed off an Amazon exclusive Snoopy, but he's in the plane, I think.
Oh, yeah, and it's the doghouse.
Yes, that packaging was so. I don't even collect peanuts, but I was like, that is so cool. I love that.
Yeah, I don't have everything here. I've got a couple things. I don't have that. Maybe you've got this, but I do have this, which is the new Amazon exclusive.
Yeah,
Hold on. I have to,
I know. I'm so stoked for that one. Look at that.
it's great. Once again, for people that don't believe, like these are really big vinyls. They're chunky.
Yes,
Everybody thinks they're pop size, and these are much, much bigger than that.
yes, yeah. They're very satisfying to hold in hand, and they're also really fun to fidget because they are two-piece vinyl. You've got that
Yeah.
swivel at the head. Yeah, really fun. The GMK, I believe Amazon listed as September. And I'm waiting for them to pop up on Amazon Canada, but GMK, that's my favorite Godzilla movie, and you've got the variant shown off before even the mainline release, and so I'm gonna get all of
There you go.
them. Okay, so Super Cycle Godzilla. This one is so fun, and
Yeah.
it's so funny because when you guys first showed off Super Cycles, I was thinking back to like the Marusan Godzilla on a bike, and I was like, oh well, that's what that's gonna be. They've got to do Godzilla, and then you guys didn't do Godzilla for a while.
For a while. Yeah. Well, and that's also because, you know, M1 has been making stuff for a long, long time as well. And
Mhm.
so it was, when are we going to do ours? And we got to make sure it's different from what they're doing. And I want to be
Right.
respectful for what they're doing. So, you know, just we'll get there. We're just taking our time,
Yeah.
going step by step. Like it's all one big happy family here.
And he appears very much like the fun. Is that intentional?
I mean, it's a style. It's that super deformed style to a degree, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very much in the same vernacular,
Yeah.
because that's cute.
It's cute. I love the packaging. Like the city's just on fire behind him, but he's just kind of riding dirty, just
Yeah, exactly.
on his way to cause trouble. And this is, I forget what the term is, but is it turnkey? It's tin key?
Well, it's a tin key wind,
Yes.
so it just means you use the key to wind it up, and it's a tin mechanism that drives it along.
Yeah. Very charming. Really cool to see Toho officially enter the Super Cycle line, and again, just another fun way to celebrate the property.
Completely. All right.
All right, so
I actually have that one
oh,
here.
there we go.
Because I figure, yeah. Now this one's been opened a few times, and so the box is a little beat up, as you can see.
Yep.
But hold on, I gotta come over here so I can see the window. But
Yeah, looks
there we go.
great. Wow.
But just giant chaos.
Yeah.
And the idea of going down the route of sort of that 10,000. We can't use the M word here. Um,
Blazing.
Amazing,
Blazing.
yes, but that clear orange with yellow highlights, Godzilla, the
Yeah.
1,000 degrees.
Yeah. 11.99.
Yeah.
Yeah, though this one was kind of out of left field because up to this point, the minus ones you guys have been doing have been movie accurate, right? Like you
Yes.
had your standard one, then you had minus color as a special moment. Oh, look at that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Oh man. I love it. So good.
It turned out great. I mean, that particular iterative of Godzilla, obviously with -1, looks amazing in that color scheme too.
Yeah, I mean, you guys posted the photo yesterday, and the spines, the way they start orange and then almost move towards like a clear crystal white at the tips,
Yeah.
looks it just it, it's just a really it's a fun colorway of a really great action figure.
Yes, I would
Um,
agree.
and so this one, you know, you have the other Blazing Godzilla from the 1995 movie that you guys did. I know you even reordered it earlier this year because it was doing really well. Um,
Yep.
is did you did you approach Toho, say you want to do the same thing for minus one? Did they tell you that they wanted this
No,
kind
this
of?
came from us. You know, just you know, what do we want? What do we think is going to be cool? But at the same time, what do also like the people that collect our stuff look for? And the number one thing I keep getting asked is just like, all right, well, what's next for -1? What's next for -1?
Right.
It's like, well, there's a movie coming out called, you know, uh, but like, how do I bring you something that feels like it's in the family and that you're going to be excited about, but also like something you don't have and it's a little bit unexpected and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And really when you get into San Diego, a lot of that really it's that opportunity to make that kind of unexpected off the beaten path kind of stuff, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not like here's the one that's going to go wide and we're going to try to sell it to, it's like this is a moment, this is a
Yes.
time, and so it drops in, it exists for what that is, and then it moves on.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really felt appropriate for what we were going to do there. It's like, because it's not for everybody. There's going to be a guy that's like, that's not what he's like in the movie. It's like, that's great. It's not for you. It's okay. Okay. You
Well,
know?
so to that point, you know, when the charging one came out on Godzilla Day, there were conversations, you know, because he has the charging spines, he doesn't have a beam because why would he have a beam if he's charging up? Um, and I guess this question transcends more than just Toho, but generally speaking, how much leeway do you guys have when it comes to like screen accuracy versus something that is clearly in this case something that's more stylized?
I mean, it depends on, part of it depends on how it's coming to market,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And if it's something where it's like, like the charging one, where it's like, okay, that needs to be accurate. Where here it's like we're clearly way off the beaten path, so that's okay. Where if it was like, oh, it's charging like the movie, but we change this thing, that wouldn't fly. It's like, no, it's either accurate
Mm-hmm.
or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to kind of push them apart. It's the same thing with stuff like this. It's like we can get away with a lot of this in the styling of it because it is clearly stylized to a certain effect. But if we were going to try to do a middle ground version of it, that wouldn't go.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me, and it's good to know because you know I had a hard time believing that you would pitch this concept to Toho and they'd be like, oh, he's not orange enough or something like that. You know.
Yeah, sometimes it depends on the day, though. We've pitched a couple things that they have been like, no, that character isn't like that. We're like, I know, but look how cool it looks. And they're like, yeah, but no.
Oh no, I get it, right? Like it's a property that's existed for 70 years, and that you know sometimes they might be
I, you
protective of
know,
it.
a lot of it, the same thing. It comes back down to at San Diego Comic Con at this moment with the Kaiju response team and all the other stuff that goes with it. Like there's a playfulness that can happen there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, for that moment, that makes a lot of sense. So we're fine with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. because look, if you can't have the moments, if you can't find the moments to have fun with this, it seems like a missed opportunity. So it's cool that it's cool just seeing this all come together, and how much fun it looks like you guys have had in putting this together.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and there's more to reveal.
Ho 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 ho. Ho
Ho ho ho
ho.
ho.
Awesome. So last, I guess, two things I wanted to touch on. Um, Website went through a big overhaul. Uh,
Yeah, just went live the Shopify 2.0 version.
yeah, yeah, and I didn't see Toho Wave 5 listed in the pre-order status. It could be that it's just, it's taking a second to update.
I can check in on it. Hold on.
Okay.
Should be on there. It just may have gotten omitted by accident.
Okay. Yeah, last updated, it was on track for end of year 2025.
Yeah, I haven't heard any reason to think it wouldn't be.
Okay. Cool. That's good to know. And then last time we chatted,
The elusive,
the elusive third
the
figure.
elusive, amazingly awesome, wild figure number 3. Um, I haven't seen an update quite yet. The last version we got, it was about 90% of what we needed it to be. We've been
Mhm.
working on this last sort of 10% for a while, and I don't think it's 100% dialed in yet. The moment it's dialed, like everything's ready to go.
Mhm.
But I just need to be able to be like, here, see it in real life, and then here's the photos and the renders and everything else of it. But also like, no, this is how it works.
Mhm.
So that third figure, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Right. And we
And I
we
can't. I wish I could tell you more, but I can't.
I know. We've talked offline a little bit about it. I don't think it's we've talked about on camera, but the whole thing is that you really want folks to see the physical prototype. That's very
Yes,
important
because
to you.
yes, that is 100% the case.
Right. So, uh
I'm literally gonna text Josh right now and be like, "Hey, where are we at with that?
where are we at with
Have you,
wave
have you seen a new
5B?
sample?
Right. So odds on seeing anything at San Diego about this
That
third
would be
figure?
awesome. I don't know if that's true or not, but that would be really great if we could."
Okay. Okay. So that is the third ultimate. If I'm gonna get real greedy here, I original timeline wave 3, or sorry, wave 5 would have been February or March. Do you have a sense of when wave 6, or even if do you have any plans for wave 6 at this point?
Of ultimates?
Yeah.
Of course, I have plans. What kind of question is that?
do, do you think we'll see the wave 6 in 2025?
Um, I think what's going to happen on the next ones
Mm-hmm.
is that they're not going to come. They're going to come more as singles rather than waves,
Okay.
and then you'll get there's definitely some more singles coming this year, and then stuff into next year. So
Okay.
there's some stuff coming that might be more like singles instead of doubles.
Okay. Ooh, very very interesting.
But yes, there's more in the works.
Great. Cool. Yeah, because in hindsight, like seeing Godzilla being such a big presence for Super 7 this year at San Diego Comic Con, Wave 6 of Ultimates might have made sense, but then the third figure from Wave 5 hasn't come out yet. So just, seeing how that might sort of cascade down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at everything right now. I mean, there's there's a couple things. There's a lot of stuff that's in the works.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, yeah, you're going to see more things coming out. I think. Uh, yeah, more as singles.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
But
Cool. Cool.
there's stuff.
There's stuff.
There's stuff.
There's always stuff. Actually, I have just remembered, and I'm actually so glad that I remember because I got the Showa trading cards,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and I love the Showa trading cards. I got a full set. I got a couple of rare ones, which I was really excited about.
I think you got a 101, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I got the
I still don't have a 101.
that's which is crazy. And then I got a one out of the blue one. Is it 1 out of 14?
Don't know.
Whatever the blue one is. I got one of Ebera, which I was so excited about.
You're like, there we go.
There we
Nobody
go.
cares but me.
It's true. But this was pointed out to me as something that was at Toy Fair, hanging out over here in the I guess the ancillary product. There's a Godzilla -1 box here.
That is true.
Are you able to talk about what this is?
Yeah, I mean a little bit. So we've done a few things of trading cards, and this what we ran into. So when we started doing trading cards, we were doing wax packs, right?
Yeah.
And that was done like a 1970s, 1980s, even 1990s uh, card set, which would have, same as the 50s and 60s. It's, wax packs. They're 24 packs into a little box, little tabletop, or everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
When we did the Showa set, we're doing sort of this transition. What we ran into is that a lot of card places wanted to carry our cards, but they couldn't carry the wax packs because the wax packs pop open. They don't have, we were making them just for like the fun of having cards. That's what we remembered. But they're like, hey, for me, we want it. Modern collector wants the foils. They want chases. They want variants and all that other stuff. And we're like, all right, let's do that. So when we made Showa Series 1, which is almost sold out now, we're down to like 5% of inventory, I think. We did it, the cards the way we wanted, but we packaged them the same way we were packaging the old stuff, which was 24 packs into the tabletop box. And they're like, this is great. Our customers don't want to buy it. They want blaster boxes.
Yeah.
So going forward, there's a Universal Monsters series 1 coming, and a Godzilla -1 series coming, as well as theoretically Godzilla Showa Series 2. And those will be blaster boxes rather than 24 count boxes. So it'll be a box with 6 packs in it. So then the box is like $30-$40 instead of, I think it's actually 40. I think it's 40.
Okay.
I can't remember right now. But then it's a blaster box of 6 packs. And that's really where the majority of trading cards are sold, whether it's at Target or even hobby shops. You're selling blaster boxes.
Yes.
It might be a $300 blaster box, but it's still a blaster box of like 6 packs, 5 packs, 4 packs. It's not I'm buying 24 packs at once. It's just a bit more manageable, price point wise, and people can come back more regularly and buy them. So the next waves of cards will be those two. So there's Universal Monsters and Godzilla -1. Originally, those were going to be out by now, but I think now we're looking at that stuff being, I think October is when it's coming out.
Okay. Cool.
So,
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because the checkout lane at my nearby Toys R Us has all these blaster boxes right there, and you can tell like it's meant to be like an impulse buy. So that makes sense. Will you do like cases of blaster boxes as well, or is blaster box like the okay?
So then you get, so like right now I think a case of the flats, I think there's 6 flats per master case, where I think the blasters are either 10 or 20 per master case.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's a lot of cards.
Well, I mean, if you think about one blaster box is the equivalent of 4 of those flats.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're doing 6 of these, it would have been 24,
Yes.
for the same amount of cards.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
think that they were looking at both 10 um, 10 box 10 blaster box masters and 20 blaster box masters, depending on how the retailer wanted it.
Gotcha. Cool. Cool. I'm I'm glad to have clarification on that one because it was actually pointed out to me. Because I think that this is Veebs's coverage, and they said,
Oh,
oh, if you pause in this 1 second, there's like a Godzilla -1 box there that we don't know about. Uh,
yeah. Well, now we know about it.
and now we know about it. So that's cool for the folks that are collecting the trading cards, like myself. Looking forward to Godzilla -1.
Yeah. I
And
keep scratching my nose because my allergies are driving me crazy. I'm like, somebody's going to be on the other end going like, he's doing coke. I'm like, no, my allergies are messing with me. And,
oh gosh.
that's
Great.
funny.
Well, that's all the material that I had, Brian. Um, one
What do
thing
I have? What do you not know? I don't know. You're on top of things. The,
that I've no, that's breaking news, Brian.
is that breaking news?
That's
I'll take it
breaking
from the other
news.
room. That can't be breaking news. Those shipped a little while ago. Hold on.
Yeah, we will we will clip that as its own video to be released during San Diego Comic-Con.
Or whenever the reveal happens, right? Then
Yeah,
you can
whatever. I'll make it. I'll unlist it, and then whenever it gets revealed, we'll be like, boom, there you go, breaking news.
Breaking news. Brian messed this up in my interview, and now I had to sit on it for at least 2 weeks or until it got revealed.
Yes, cursed with knowledge.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's been very busy, very hectic. And like we mentioned before, the toy industry and landscape looks a lot different now than when we previously chatted. But
It does. It does. It's still hectic out there, and tariffs aren't settled yet. We all thought Vietnam was settled at 10%, but apparently on Tuesday it's not. Now it's settled at 20%. So will China stay at 30%? We have no idea. It seems like that was old news from months ago, but nothing has been resolved. Nothing has been finalized. It is still very wait and see. It is still a lot of unknowns there.
yeah, very volatile. Very,
That
very
would be a
volatile.
polite term for it. That would be a polite term for it.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's obviously not the same thing, but thinking about like if my day-to-day expenses all of a sudden, like if my mortgage costed 30, 40, 50% more, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah,
So,
no, it breaks everything. It breaks every financial plan that you have, and it breaks a lot of opportunities that you have in the future. It messes up a lot of stuff. So, here, while we're here, hold on, because I literally got my copy today.
okay.
So, all right, I was gonna say while we're here, holding on. I don't know. I gotta do this. Hold on, I gotta make sure I'm doing this correct here. This will also come out at San Diego Comic Con.
Oh,
The
the art
art
book.
of Super7, the
Oh,
book.
yeah.
There we go. Front cover. The art
Yeah.
of Super7.
And
This
that's
Dark Horse
Dark Horse.
book.
Yes. Oh, that's so cool.
So this is how many? What we got? 208 pages of amazing product from the amazing team here at Super7. So let's see. Giant monsters. Let's see. Look at that. There's a Godzilla right there.
There you go.
We got plenty of green guy in here. Look at these spreads.
Okay. It's good to know that Godzilla's in there because there wasn't any mention of him in the solicitation. Awesome.
I just got my copy today. So coming out at San Diego Comic Con from Dark Horse.
Very cool.
Super7.
And it'll be surreal because before I've experienced the con through other content creators reporting, and to be there for myself, and to be able to do my own recording and to share that experience, it's gonna be a lot, and I'm getting amped up for it, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really excited about it, and
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
I'm excited about it, and I'm worried about stuff showing up on time and where's this going and what getting into what dock at what day, and I'm still excited. So you should be doubly excited. You're gonna have a ball.
so the stuff you've showed off so far, is that there for sure, or still are those still
Yeah,
up in the
all
air?
of that stuff is there for sure. That
Okay,
stuff is there for sure. Yes.
okay,
A lot
okay.
of the stuff that the Godzilla stuff we were further ahead on than some of the booth stuff. So a lot of the booth, what would have been the booth stuff, is the stuff that's like, oh, we're
Hmm.
gonna be here.
Okay.
So
All right. Well, Brian, again, thank you for taking the time. I don't want to drag it on too much longer. Thank you, and look forward to seeing you and chatting with you in person in just a few weeks.
definitely. All right, Kyle.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian.